Runescape and old school Runescape are two sides to the same coin, some people say. Though in reality, it's more of a diverging timeline sort of situation where the games split at a single point in time and are now two different realities. Runescape kept evolving, and its lore, world, and mechanics have continued advancing at a fast pace. Old school Runescape, however, stayed true to the nostalgic charm of the game, where its gameplay has remained nearly the same since its divergence, and the world has evolved down a different path. Whether you find one version of the game better than the other is an opinion, and no side is more correct than the other. As someone who's been playing since RuneScape Classic, I personally think both versions of the game are just, well, RuneScape. I think both games are good games and can coexist, and the communities from both should do what they can to help both games flourish. There is no reason for discourse between the two games, and I actively encourage players to play both games. And that is what I'm going to start doing. Though old school RuneScape has always appealed to me as a game, I never wanted to restart my progress when the game split. But with friends in both of these games' timelines, it's time for me to try going from RuneScape to RuneScape, experiencing the alternate timeline. Hello again everyone, Kamori here, and welcome back to RuneScape, this time for episode 24. Kind of getting up there in numbers. I do believe this is the longest series on the channel now, but here are my levels as usual. We do have everything at base 40 aside from sailing, but that is still something that I'm going to be putting off for a non-determined amount of time. I'll figure out a time to start it, but I want to kind of tackle it afterwards and maybe with my friend at the same time or something, but we'll figure it out. First thing that we are going to do, though, is I do have a jellies task. I know that the catacombs have the higher level jellies, so I'm going to come over here and try some of them. I haven't been getting too many shards or anything. I'm just trying to do any task that I can do in the catacombs, just to prep for the future. But these do have kind of a ton of HP, and I don't do the most amount of damage to them. But it is just like a new area, and so it's like I'm excited to see what they drop, what kind of EXP rates I can get. But you know, Slayer at early levels is still so slow that forcing myself to fight enemies that don't die very easily for a long time is probably not the best idea, even if it is kind of fun. Just being able to, fight enemies that you don't normally fight all the time. I feel like on my main account, I think I did a jellies task like maybe 2 or 3 times, all the way up to 200 million Slayer on RuneScape 3. Like, it was not a task that I got too often. My first kill was an adamant battle axe, though, which was actually pretty nice because that did make me think that there's going to be a decent amount of alchable money here. Got another adamant battle axe on my second kill, or my third kill, or something like that. Pretty early on, I was able to manage another battle axe. So if it was a pretty common drop of alchables, I don't mind the length of the task at these enemies, but the Slayer experience per hour was not incredible. But there we go. On kill number 4, we do get the 1 clogger from this enemy. We get the mithril boots, throw them on there. Look at that fashionscape, they almost blend into the ground, but completely useless. And as you can see, I am getting quite an amount of decent alchables. The black 2-handed swords, I've been keeping like iron and steel ones, level 60 strength coming in, for the Giant's Foundry. The black ones don't really do anything, so I am probably just going to high alch these. I might just keep them for collectible reasons, just because they look cool, but if they alch for a decent amount, I will just alch them anyways. But as I do have nearly a full inventory, I am deciding, it's just taking a little bit too long. This task is going to take forever if I stay here at the bigger jelly, so I am just going to come over to the Relica Slayer dungeon and figure out if the smaller ones were a better way to just get through this task. The combat EXP will come in time anyway, so there's not really a reason to try to force more combat EXP early, though I do want to get up to the 130 attack and strength so I can get into the Warriors Guild. But I mean, that's just something that it'll come naturally as I'm training slaying. So we'll switch over to here. These jellies make me think of a really old video on RuneScape where someone, like, I don't know if someone was playing on a private server or something, but they got like a whip drop from jellies, and they tried to like convince everyone that it was an actual drop. It was just extremely rare. And I remember having friends like come camp jellies and try to get jelly tasks and all that for so long to try and get a whip drop before it was like, no, you can't actually get a whip from a jelly. It was pretty funny though. With 4 jellies left on task though, much faster to get through it here though. But there we go, the Vitreous Jelly, my very first superior Slayer monster on the account. And I do think the superior jelly is kind of a cool enemy because you see like the bones and stuff inside of it, so it's kind of a cool one to get as the very first drop. I also got better loot from these ones. I don't know if it was just because I could kill them faster than the ones in the catacombs, but I did get a couple, I want to say rune full helm drops or rune pieces or something. I do have like 85k in coins just from alchables, and I did alch way more down here than I did in the catacombs, so that was actually quite nice. The gems and everything, fantastic. Not really anything super important for a main account, but it is nice. They do add up over time. Prayer flicking, honestly, it's so useful. It's definitely something that, I mean, it's way easier with the metronome on. Anytime I turn the metronome off and I'm like listening to music while I'm playing, my clicks definitely speed up and I start messing up a lot. But you do get into a rhythm of it after a while. But 190 HP, that's really not that much more HP than the jellies in the catacombs were. But the fight definitely took quite a bit longer. But we are getting the full experience here. My first jelly, I'm going to put the whole kill in the clip, you know? Because this is my first chance at the Imbued Heart or the Eternal Slayer gem. Something. I'm going to get something on the first kill. 1900 EXP, 53 Slayer. A steel battle axe. It's not the Imbued Heart. I'm just kidding. Super cool there. Got the Slayer level on the superior kill though. Quite exciting there. And then one more quick kill later. I always just leave my prayer on and stop flicking at the end of the fight. And so it always runs out before the final kill. But there we go. Task complete. 32 tasks completed now. 123 jellies. 10 Slayer points. And that did get me right within range of a strength level. And I do believe that strength level is all I need to get to level 75 combat. So when we grab that, we'll be able to do Konar tasks. Grabbing the mahogany trees. I love these EXP drops. So you look at the EXP counter up there, that's over 3 million EXP per hour. If only I could just do this for, you know, I wonder how high it would get before I normalized out. If you could just sit there and just check the mahogany tree over and over and over and over, you would get 99 so quickly. You could get to 200 million just in a couple hours easily. Pay them all, though. Get these going. The Yanillion hops, thankfully, have gone down in price, so it doesn't feel too bad buying 100 hops to do a full tree run, but still a little bit expensive, because honestly, who's farming hops? No one does. Didn't get the graphical bug for the trees either this time, though. Heading on over, finishing up the birdhouse run now. Grab one of these. Level 62 hunter coming in. We do have a bunch of skills all getting quite close to a level all at the same time, so that is very nice to get all of these total levels up. Head back to the GE to bank, and we are right there for level 73 fletching as well. Been a while since I got a fletching level, and then I do hold off on it for a little bit. But speaking of the farming and being close to a strength level, here is something I have been capable of doing for a long time, but I've just been putting off. But I'm going in. I'm doing it. This is going to be my first ever Hespori fight. I planted the seed months ago, I feel like, and I haven't ever fought it. I didn't think my combat levels were high enough. But now that I have dragon weapons and everything, I'm not really too sure what I'm doing. I've seen tons of people fight it, but I don't know if there's any special mechanics. I know you gotta kill the flowers, and then you pray magic, and that's about all I know. So go through with the darts, kill all the flowers. That was a combat achievement, apparently. Weed Whacker. Quite nice. Even with pray magic on, he's like kind of slapping me pretty hard. So I don't know if praying magic is the best play. So I start trying to switch back and forth between the two. We get level 61 strength there, and that is level 75 combat. Konar, I am on my way eventually. Pretty excited to do some Konar tasks myself, though. So I think it has 2 different types of basic attacks, a magic and a ranged one, and it kind of depends on like the green glowy stuff around Hespori, like determines what type of attack it is. And then I noticed I go through prayer so quickly. Leaving prayers on in this game, like, it drains insanely fast. Even when I'm wearing full initiate, prayer just does not last long without a ton of prayer points. And I don't have too much prayer restore with me. I brought 1 2-dose Moonlight Moth Flask, but that should be more than enough. When you get Hespori to a set amount of HP, the flowers will open up again. You have to go around and kill them all again. Then every now and then he like binds you in vines, and you have to click. I later on read that you have to click 7 times to get out of it, but it definitely feels like it's like 7 ticks that you have to click during, whereas if you spam click 7 times, it only, registers 2, 3, 4 clicks, so you kind of have to slow the clicks down a little bit, it felt like. I don't know if that was just a ping issue. But I believe it's like you get it down to 60% HP, and then when you get it down to 30% HP or something like that, the flowers open up again. But the flowers like open and close a bunch like this before they're attackable. That was a little annoying, just spam clicking on one and it not doing anything. But I do believe that is the last round of it. I do use all of my Moonlight Moths. Going into prayer flick mode, because once again, I'm definitely going to run out of prayer at this rate. I don't want to have to leave. I know there's a bank right there, but it's my first attempt. First fight, you got to win on the very first time, I am using a combat potion and everything. I did make quite a few of those. But I'm getting pretty low on food. Hitting well. Come on, we got this. Cool fight, though. The only thing that you're really looking for, drop-wise, as far as I know, is the bottomless compost bucket. It's like a 1 in 15 or a 1 in 35. It's not super rare, but because you can't fight Hespori over and over, it does take some time. But what do we go? I do know there is a combat achievement for killing it with a special attack, but it keeps doing the vines, and I'm worried about my prayer. Come on, DDS, don't let me down. And there we go. We get Hesperisn't, the combat achievement. 3 minutes, 4 seconds for my very first kill. And are we going to get the bottomless compost bucket? Are we being spooned on the first kill? Ooh, we are not. 12,600 farming EXP is quite nice, though. We got a Chronos seed and a Slastria seed, I believe that was. I have no idea what any of these seeds do. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what any of them are, if any of them are good. We did get a clue scroll during a birdhouse run, though, so we're going to go ahead and open that. Ooh, and we get the Sandwich Lady hat. There is a clog for me. Put on this beautiful full outfit that I got. Wow, fantastic. Look at me. Looking quite good with the white skin, too, actually. Grand Exchange, you make showing off outfits terrible because of the arches around the edge, but hey, collection log in the bank. And you thought I was done with Hespori, but no. I have so many Hespori seeds. I say so many, but it's like 9 or something like that. So I'm going to try to get on top of these. Second kill, sadly, a little bit slower. But we go in for the bottomless compost bucket. Ooh, still nothing. But we do get an Iosaur seed. Again, no idea what that grows, if it's useful. The Celastra seed seems to be the one that's worth a little bit. So I don't know if that's the good seed or, I think you can get the redwood tree seeds down there maybe. I have no idea. Enough leveling and fighting for now, though. We're going to get back on that quest grind. I am starting to get to a point where I don't have easily accessible fast quests to do. I am playing this game while trying to show a friend this game for the first time. They'd never played RuneScape. So I'm trying not to get too far ahead of them, but I also don't want to stop making content, and they've been pretty busy, so they haven't been able to play, so I'm trying to just find odds and ends that I can do that's not going to, like, push me too far ahead. Troll Romance coming in, gotta help Ugg attract a lady friend over here who looks identical to Ugg, just with lipstick and some hair. But we talked to her, and she's basically saying, like, oh, I'm with the other troll. It's Ugg, Arg, and Aga. And yet you fight Dad in the previous troll quest, and he's named Dad because trolls are named after the first thing that they eat. What is an Aga, an Arg, or an Ugg? I don't know. But she's with Arg, who is big, strong, blah, 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 and Ugg is not. But Arg is supposed to be bringing her a flower, and he's not doing it, so she thinks Arg maybe doesn't actually love her. And so you're like, all right, I'll just go get the flower for Ugg, and then he can hook her up, and then, you know, win-win. No idea where this troll-wise flower grows, though. It's apparently super rare. You come talk to Tenzing, and he's like, wow, I haven't heard about this flower in a long time. It should be super rare, but there is one spot that it exists in, but it's extremely dangerous and no one can go there. And we're like, well, I'm an adventurer. I'm going to go anyways. And he's like, sure, I guess. Here it is. You go through this super dangerous ice troll cave, and then you're up on a snowy path, and you got to go down, sledding down this path, and you'll find it's. How do you know exactly where it is, bro? Like, how do you know you have to do all this if you've never done it? It's super dangerous, but besides the point. So I need to make a sled, and he's like, well, I have no idea how to make a sled. Go ask Dunstan. You know, he helped make the climbing boots, so maybe he knows how to build stuff. Come talk to Dunstan, and he's like, you want a sleigh? You playing in the snow, you child? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I suppose I could make you a sled. You have to bring me rope, either maple or yew logs, and an iron bar. And while you're off fetching that, I'm just gonna brainstorm on how to design a sled and like the engineering behind it and how it's all gonna work. And I just talked to him again, and apparently he did it. I was standing right here the whole time, Dunstan. When did you do this? No time passed. But apparently you just thought it up. Maybe Dunstan's a genius. We'll never know. We make it, and then you have to wax the sled yourself. You do that by using a bucket of wax on some swamp tar. And then you also need a cake tin in the inventory. And then you wax up the sled, and now we gotta go all the way up into Troll Country. It's actually... I didn't remember it being right next to the gate with the troll child for Desert Treasure. When you're going for the is it just the ice gem or whatever? The blood gem? I don't know which one it is. Running through this cave though, these trolls are a really high level. I did a troll slayer task up in Natiznot. Do people use this cave and fight these ice trolls for a troll task? I kind of can't imagine trolls being an incredible task. Maybe they're like a free skip task because they die so easily. The ones on Yatiso can apparently drop like granite shields and rune kite shield and stuff, so that's kind of good money for like Iron Men and stuff. But I don't know the drop tables of anything up here. I forget there's a gnome up here if you're doing the gnome cooking minigame. That's one of the ones that you can interact with, and I think that's one of the better ones actually. Here we go though, hitting the ramp, whee, and you stick the landing. And of course you make it to the flat ground, and instead of walking, I'm just going to stay on the sled. Best mode of transportation, especially when going up hills. You know, that wouldn't be like the hardest thing in the world to do, sit on a sled and climb up a hill with it. But we keep going. You grab one flower for the quest, and you keep another troll waste for yourself for the bank space waste, because it is a pretty flower, and it works with Glamour, which is the real end game of RuneScape. But we're not done. There's another part of the sled. Actually, it would be so much fun. As someone who lives in a place where we don't ever get snow, this is how I get my winter wonderland fun, you know? Another huge jump over the rocks, straight into the cave. It would have been funny if there was like a crash and explosion, but, you know, heading back to Ugg, we bring the flowers, and there is some combat coming up, and I realize that my inventory probably isn't enough to do a fight, so I do go back and get a little bit more stuff. But basically, bringing the flowers, and he's like, actually, I'm too scared. Or no, he's like, oh, don't don't go talk to her. And I'm like, oh, I'll do it. And he's like, I'll kill you. And I'm like, oh, I'll just go tell her that you said that. Then he's like, oh, wait, no, 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 I don't want to fight Arg. Go fight him for me. You're so strong. And I'm like, yeah, damn right I am. Arg, actually, a pretty difficult fight. He can hit really, really hard, even through prayer. But thankfully, there is a way to set up a safe spot. You run to the first box over there, and then you come around this corner here, and he gets caught on the lip right next to Dad, who's just watching him. He's still just standing here. He hasn't moved since I whooped his ass. And you can just safe spot it from here. He has a ranged attack, but he doesn't use it here at all. I'm not too sure the mechanics behind that. Kill Arg. Dad just watches it happen. Get the uncut sapphire as a drop. I do believe that's just regular troll loot drop. You can get basically anything. I don't know if the sapphire's a guarantee or anything like that. You kill Arg, you go back to Ugg, you let him know he's been defeated, and you're like, woohoo, you can go talk to Aga now. And he's like, oh, no. And I'm like, dude, my grandmother's more of a troll than you. Like, you suck. And he's like, how dare you say that? I'll show you wrong. I'll go talk to Aga. And that is quest complete. Troll Romance, 2 quest points, 8,000 agility EXP, 4,000 strength EXP, and 7 uncut gems. I'm sure you can notice I have way too much fish in my inventory and not enough space for gems, so I do have to quickly deal with that. I did also drop 2 iron arrows before I talked to him, and now there's 2 different iron arrow 3 spots on the ground. A iron arrow duplicate glitch found, you know what I'm saying? Just kidding. No idea what happened there though. It's probably just 3 and it just split it over 2. Back on this grind though, level 63 Hunter coming in. You can tell how long these clips are apart. I did just get a Hunter level before the quest and now another one after. I do a lot of birdhouses and then I just, film it when I'm getting a level, but I do not get to play too much during the week. We did get that clue scroll though, so we're going to go ahead and open it up. Ooh, beginner clues are worth doing. I do actually use that as food later on though, so it's actually not the worst reward. But we did get level 75 combat, so here we go, climbing up Mount Karum for the first time. Thankfully, I do have the agility shortcuts, because I'm pretty sure it's a pretty long walk around the outside if you don't. Let's get one good task for my first ever task. I've never gotten a Konar task. Please something cool, something unique, something... I swear to God, I'm so sick of Greater Demons already. I've had like 5 Lesser Demon and Greater Demon tasks already. Can I get just anything else? I did Brimstone Dungeon. Or the Brimhaven Dungeon. Unfortunate. Here we are though for the first time down in Brimhaven, unlocking all of the music tracks. We're getting all the medium tasks for cutting the logs and jumping across the stepping stones, and this is actually a very memorable task, even though it sucks. I did kill so much stuff down in here as a child, and the safe spots and everything for the greater demons. I remember being so unaware of how the level difference really makes a big difference in this game. And so them being level 92 and red, I was terrified when I was down here, and I would be a super low level, but you can just safe spot everything. And I remember finding out that they drop rune items or rune armor super rare, and being oh my god, I need to go kill some of these and get some really good money. And I would bring 4,000 airstrikes or something, and I would just be down here for so long and get nothing. 62 hit points coming in. I am maging them for the safe spot just because it, I don't have to prayer flag the whole time. I was just being a little bit lazy. They are weak to water spells, but I was bleeding chaos runes down here. Level 61 magic. I decided to hit that level, and then I'm getting out of here with magic. They don't drop anything of value to make up for the cost of the runes at all, so I came back down with melee as well, because I do want to get towards the 65 attack and strength. Scattering all of the ashes though. There we go, level 49 prayer. That is quite nice. We can use redemption. Not really something I'm going to use anytime soon, but it is available. And here we go. First task complete at Konar. I did use expeditious bracelets the entire time because, again, greater demon tasks on their own are absolutely terrible unless you can do it next to the necreals in the Konar dungeon and take people's drops. But 33 tasks complete. We get 18 points from Konar. That's the good stuff right there. I don't know if I'm going to go back to Chaeldar and then just do every 10th task at Konar, but we'll figure it out. grabbing another casket here as well to wrap it all up. Do we get anything? Yeah. That's going to be where I go ahead and call it an episode for today then. Again, like I said, I am playing through this game with a friend, and so they've been really busy and haven't been able to play. So I've been kind of limited in how much progress I'm wanting to make. I don't want to get so far ahead that they get demotivated because they feel too far behind. But here are my levels as usual. I still do want to slowly work on base 45s. I do want to get 50 thieving as well. Thank you guys all very much for watching though. I hope you've been enjoying it, and hope to see you all back in the next one. And until then, take care. Peace.